big misconception amongst the whole self-improvement industry is that a fucked life is all the way at the bottom. It's the typical motherfucker that still jerks off, plays video games, eats junk food. But I beg to differ. There's a fucked life at every stage of life. Whether you've been on meditation for like 2 years or so, consistently taking cold showers, meditation, working on your business, you can still have a fucked life at that point. There are multiple fucked lives in different stages of life. It just depends on what perspective you are looking at. For example, the highest motherfucker, the rich billionaire that also does fucking spiritual work, ayahuasca, whatever. The guy at the top here, looking down at us, he would say that we have a fucked life, probably. Mental health issues, unnecessary traumatic experiences. He'd probably say some shit like that. And then we would say the people below us, the fucking jerker offers, the wankers, motherfuckers who still eat artificial processed junk food. And so in this quick video, I'm gonna give you the 7 steps or 7 ways to unfuck your life, whichever stage you're at. Obviously, I can't really speak for a fucking billionaire motherfucker, but honestly, if you hear out all of these tips of mine, all of these steps of mine, they'll make sense, bro. So without further ado, number 1 is practice silence. Every once in a while, you have to be silent. You have to be body still, mind active. This is a term from Andrew Huberman, and this is a very, very common thing amongst a bunch of smart people. It's called the default mode. And essentially, some smart guy used to do this, right? Maybe it was Einstein, maybe it was Nikola Tesla, maybe it was Edison, the guy that invented the light bulb, right? Essentially, they would fall asleep on a chair, holding their keys in their hands. And whenever they would fall asleep, the keys would drop, and then there would be a metal plate down below so that they would hear it, and they would jump back up, and they would have a bunch of ideas. Another thing is with cigar people who smoke cigars, the old wise motherfuckers in the countryside sitting on a lounge chair or whatever, smoking the cigar. They are classified, it's so stereotypical of them to be wise, right? The motherfuckers who's kicked back in his chair, lounged by the fireplace with a cigar in hand. It's so stereotypical that they are wise, they are knowledgeable, they are thinkers. Or even something as simple as shower thoughts. You know, the typical thing like a shower thoughts, and then you realize what the meaning of life is. It's all of these things called default modes. Default mode is essentially when your body is still, or body is doing something that is monotonous. So maybe for me, right, it's cooking or washing the dishes, something that is just on autopilot. But whether it's walking back from the gym, walking to school, something that gives you this default mode, it will provide you with many thoughts about yourself. If you're stuck on a problem recently in life and you can't really get through it, no matter how much you search online on YouTube for these gurus' help, trying to find the answer, maybe the case is that the answer is already within you. All you have to do is let yourself hear it without literally in 5 minutes or so getting the urge to check your phone, check WhatsApp, check messages, check TikTok, without the need of constant stimulation. Just practicing sitting in silence, you will get so many amazing thoughts about yourself, and maybe you'll solve your own problem, as that was the case for me. And the way I've practiced silence recently, which was yesterday, and I've gotten the most benefit from it, was literally just sitting here at my work desk with all of my goals taped on my walls there, my whiteboard over there with my goals and my habit tracker, my work here with my video project tracker here, and I just sit here and I literally kick my legs up and I just sit there and think. And the longest I've gone straight thinking, right, was probably like nearly an hour just sitting there in silence. And you'll be surprised, because after maybe 5 or 10 minutes or so of sitting there in silence, your brain begins to cook up ways. Your brain begins to cook up ways to progress, as that was the case for me. I literally kept on looking at my goals, kept on looking at my videos. I'm like, oh shit, I've run out of video ideas. Bam! 7 video ideas over a period of half an hour or so just came out. Bam! And this is one of the videos that has came out of my head, and there's a plethora there for me to work on now, and now I'm a happy boy. Number 2 is why journaling. I'll link a video in the description below of me explaining what the why journaling is, right? And essentially this is so fucking amazing because it solves basically any problem that you have. If you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling anxiety, if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling scared, fear, this is the way to dig deep and find out what the source of the problem is. The true problem. I'm depressed. Why are you depressed? Okay. I'm depressed because people at school today called me fat. Why did they call me fat? I'm fat. Why am I fat? Because I binge eat. Why do I binge eat? Because it fills me up with happiness momentarily. And then so on and so on. And then from what you find is, you may reach a point where you can find the source of your problem. Maybe you're depressed because you're binge eating and people are calling you fat because you are fat because you're binge eating. And why you are binge eating is maybe because of mental health, and people calling you fat at school is probably adding to that mental health. And then you can begin to see the entire big picture that is a negative feedback loop. Number 3 is get better friends. Getting better friends will boost your productivity, boost your life quality, boost the way you go about life, boost your discipline, overall everything. They will boost everything in your life if you get better friends, because you know the saying, this has been everywhere on self-improvement. Every single self-improvement video, you can just hear them speak about. You're the average of the 5 people you hang around every single day. And that is true. And this reminds me the other day when I was at the gym with one of my closest friends nowadays. That's also on self-improvement. But essentially, I was looking for him as I went to the gym later, right? And there he was talking to these people from my old school, secondary school, and they just looked like a bunch of boys. They just looked like a bunch of feminine boys. Nothing wrong with that, once again, right? Nothing wrong with being a feminine boy. But if your environment wants you to change that, if your mum's still working to support your life, waiting for her retirement, waiting for you to retire her, and you're still a weak feminine boy, I believe there is something wrong there. And if you're trying not as hard as possible, and you're still lazy, and your mum's still working as hard as possible, I believe there is something wrong there, and I will stick to that belief. But yeah, sorry about that side tangent there. I just got carried away a little bit. Essentially, I just saw this group of boys, these 3 boys, they all just reeked of the same presence. They had the same energy, the same aura, the same presence of just not trying hard. Because they were physically weak. Once again, nothing wrong with that. I've been physically weak once. But they all had the same mentality, and I could feel, see, and sense that. They were all mentally weak and they had no purpose in life, and they promised my friend that they would go and bench. 2 of them didn't want to go bench, 1 wanted to go and bench. They went to the bench, saw that it was a little bit full, couldn't wait 2 minutes or so, went back upstairs, went back downstairs, went into changing rooms, and then left. And they did the exercises with absolutely no struggle, no glory. They were just there to have fun. It was a sort of socializing activity instead of getting that work done for your body. And so essentially that is the prime example of how your friendship group affects you. Now, number 4 is alter your social media feed. Better yet, completely delete all of it, except maybe YouTube or something, because, well, it's just the fact that you kind of have to have some self-respect for yourself. Think about this way, right? Just be open-minded for a moment. If you are a purposeful man, if you are ambitious and you have a business idea, or you're working on a business right now, and you still have YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, if you still have these apps on your phone whilst you're trying to make your business, and you still have your notifications on even, that's just like sort of disrespecting yourself. Because think about it, if you're trying to work and all of this shit, maybe you know on a subconscious level that this is bad for you. TikTok is a distraction. You can end up binging it for hours, and you try to do your business. If you try to do your business with all of these distractions, don't you think you're kind of just like bottlenecking yourself? at this point. It would do your brain so much better and would do yourself so much of a benefit to just get rid of all of that and focus in on this business. But just think about it. Why would you purposely have something that's annoying you, something that's distracting you from doing something that is truly meaningful and fulfilling, that will retire your parents? Why would you have something on the side, have a fucking goblin, have a literal like motherfucker in the side that's distracting you whilst you're trying to focus? This is just like sort of disrespecting yourself, isn't it? And so the best way to handle this that I know of is to delete literally every single other social media except YouTube. YouTube, honestly, it's long form, and chances are if you're viewing YouTube on your PC or whatever, you won't be doing shorts that much. You won't be watching shorts that much. In which case, it would do you extremely good to have absolutely no social media at all on your phone. Only on your computer should you have YouTube, and even when you have YouTube on your computer, this is extremist, right? You don't have to do this part, but if you want to do different things to end up in a different place than normal people, you can install some extensions that literally undopamine your YouTube. Blur out the thumbnails, make the thumbnails black and white, make your whole fucking site black and white, make the titles not clickbait at all. You can install all of these extensions that make your YouTube purposeful and don't sap your dopamine away immediately when you go on the site. But of course, you don't have to do any of this, and you don't have to do anything that I say. Just take it as a potential thing you can do. And number 5 is skip breakfast entirely. This is a very, very controversial thing for me to say. The most important meal of the day. But from what you'll find, if you actually go and try this for once, if you try for a couple of days just to skip breakfast and instead do the work during breakfast, and then you get to earn the meal for lunch. Essentially, if you work as hard as possible, right, this is my theory, bro science, whatever. If you work as hard as possible during your usual breakfast time and then only have lunch and dinner, you will experience so much more of a happy thing towards your food. This is like, if you look at this at face value, it sounds terrible and it sounds fucking toxic, whatever. I'm telling you to skip breakfast, that's toxic. But when you really think about it, if you skip breakfast and you work as hard as humanly possible to have lunch, do you not think you would be honoring the animals that died for your lunch better? Do you not think, have you ever had this, right, where you're decently full, but from lunch or whatever, but you're still down to the regulation of, oh, I have to have dinner, and you know it's delicious food that your mum made or whatever, but you eat it and it's just monotonous, and it's just like dull, and you're just eating it for the sake of eating dinner. That is such a disrespectful way, in my opinion. If you truly think about this, if you are hungry as fuck, let's say you've been doing a fast for like a 24-hour fast, and you start to break the fast with like a small meal first, or like a handful of almonds or an egg, and then you go and have your big meal, a steak. That steak will be so fucking delicious, and you'll be so grateful for that steak to provide all of the nutrition to fill you up completely. You'll be so grateful for that steak. And that will be the best way of honoring that animal's death. Damn, look at that shit. Oh my God. Bro, fun fact, the first day that I got this shit, right? I got this vein on my forearm. My bicep looked bigger. Yeah, buddy. So another benefit of fasting in the morning and skipping breakfast entirely is that you get work done in so much more of a productive state. You get it done so much faster. You have such a clear brain. Everything's so fast. Everything's just snappy like that. And just as a quick tip to give you here, in case you're thinking of trying this, is try and drink salt water when you wake up. Salt water, it sounds gross initially, right? It sounds completely illogical, but if you look it up, salt water is the best way to get back some electrolytes in your system. And most of the time, in fact, whenever you're feeling this urge to eat something, it's actually the fact that you're sort of dehydrated and that you don't have these electrolytes in you. So the best salt is Himalayan salt, Himalayan pink salt, and But like sea salt works fine as well, right? And you sprinkle that in, get some water, mix it up, and then drink it, and then that will stop your cravings. Another thing is you can drink a hot beverage like tea, and that sustains it for a while. And if you want to go really, really advanced, something that I do is called bulletproof coffee. You can go look that up. It's invented by this longevity biohacking guy, and it's essentially just coffee, butter, MCT oil, and a little bit of salt, I'm pretty sure. And I think a big reason why intermittent fasting makes you productive in the first place is the fact that you don't have to process anything. Digestion's such a big process. Think about it. You have to get all of that shit down your system, turn that shit into brown matter. Your system has to turn that shit legit to brown matter. Take all the nutrients out, take all the fucking colors and shit out. And that is such a big process, especially for refined foods like pasta, rice, bread. It's very, very hard for your body to do that, but it does it anyways because you stuffed it down, right? And just the simple fact of not needing to digest, especially in the morning where your stomach is essentially just empty, right? It allows all of your brain cells to focus on one singular task. One singular task of, I'm going to get this piece of work done. I'm going to use my brain for this creative task or something like that. And your brain and your system doesn't have to worry about digestion. And I think that is one of the big contributors to the productivity feeling you get whenever you are fasting. And the sixth rule is, how you do one thing in life is how you do everything in life. Do you finish your work? Do you finish your session? Do you do everything to a professional standard? If you do, then perhaps everything else in life you'll also apply that standard to. Do you like to be tidy with everything? Do you like to be organized and minimalistic? Chances are you'll probably be minimalistic and tidy with everything else. If you are messy with one thing, you are messy with everything else. If you don't finish and leave it sort of like in the dust, then you'll leave another thing in the dust as well. And this is a quote from Sam Ovens, in case you want to check out the guy. Now, the seventh thing you can do is view things in perspective. You have there's many names for this, right? So I'll just explain this in detail, right? First, the deathbed visualization is you're basically on your deathbed, and all of the spirits of what you could have been, a insanely high achieving billionaire, a spiritual man, a marathon runner, a athlete, all of them come to you as you're dying, and they're like, we came to you because we believe you could live us out, you could become us, and now we have to die along with you. And then you literally look at them and you're like, God, I could have been great. And that is viewing things in perspective. And also another one is 85-year-old. If you're 85, just think of yourself as an 85-year-old self, you being old, and you looking back at what you're about to do now. Maybe it's approaching a woman, maybe it's maybe it's something small but you're still struggling at, maybe it's talking to strangers, and just looking back from when you're 85 years old, it puts so much in perspective. And oftentimes it takes you out of perspective so much that you just do the thing. You just go and talk to that woman. Because when I'm 85, I probably won't give a shit about this. And last but not least, it is life documentation rule. This is another thing from Joe Rogan, right? And the life documentation visualization is just thinking every single day of your life there's a documentary crew with a camera that is filming your life, and your grandparents get to see that. And what would you do then? And last but not least, I highly recommend you reading this book, The Way of the Superior Man by David Dida. And essentially what this book is, it gives you a new mindset. You know, there's mindsets all online, like David Goggins' mindset, fucking Andrew Tate's iron mindset. All of that, in my humble opinion, fails in comparison to this one. He doesn't really talk about mindset in this, right? But from what I found is, if you read this book, let it cook in your brain for 2 months, go about your life. Maybe even, this is what I did. I'll just explain my journey. I read this shit, let it cook, went online, YouTube, I searched up for more spiritual, masculine shit. People like John Wineland, David Dida. And I just got more and more into this space. And I began seeing into the future more. I began actually living out the delayed gratification mindset all of these high value people talk about. I began thinking in a new, like a much better way, rather than work super hard, get into the gym, fuck all of these women, fuck a bunch of women. That is, as much as I hate to say this, right, and I might get hate for this, but this high value fuck a bunch of women, get rich, get wealthy mindset is so much below that of a superior man's. This book, just read it and let it cook for 2 months and watch John Wineland, because that's what I did. And honestly, it's such a better mindset. It's such a more humble and superior mindset. And with that being said, if you are interested in having a bulky, lean and strong, healthy body, working on your diet, working on getting strong, then you may be interested in my 28 days high ticket journey down below. It is a journey where I take you hand to hand on fixing your diet, fixing your body, hand to hand for 4 weeks, 1 hour call per week. 3 special bonuses that assure that you do not fail, whether it's binge eating, failure to bulk, failure to gain muscle. These 3 features that I'm going to name now will break through every single one of your problems. 1, accountability texting, whether you're struggling to go to the gym or struggling with your diet. You get to text me one-on-one. You also get to call me in the gym live if you want me to fix anything in real time, whether it's bench form or grip form. You want me to fix anything in real time, whether you call me in the gym. 3rd thing is tailored gym advice on command. Text me whatever you want. I will make a gym video on that. And all of this comes with a risk-free guarantee that if you want to cancel literally 2 minutes after our discovery call or 28 days in on our last call, you get to cancel and get 100% of your money back. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. In a bit.